Hello, my name is Kaylee, and today we'll be going over graphing video number 3, part 1, advanced bar graphs. So in general, there's two types of questions that scientists can ask. The first type of question that we're going to go over today is quantitative questions. Those are questions about numbers. They go over how many, how much, and what is the majority or the minority. Today, we're going to ask a quantitative question. It's going to be something like, what do you spend your 24 hours in a day doing? So how do you break up your time in the day? Let's decide on some activities that we do every day, and we'll keep track of how long we do them in one day. So how about something like, how much do we sleep per night? How much time do we spend eating? How much time do we spend studying and learning and doing school things? How much time do we spend playing outside or going to sports practices? How much time do we spend hanging out with our family, playing games? How much time do we spend watching TV? And how much time do we spend hanging out with friends? And we're going to keep track over in the hours spent column about how much time we spend doing each of those activities. So let's collect some data. Let's say we sleep 9.5 hours every day. Okay. And we spend about 2 hours eating. So that's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and any snacks that we have. And we spend 6 hours doing school things. We spend 2 hours going to sports practices or playing outside, going to the park, riding bikes. We spend only an hour and a half hanging out with the family. We spend 2 hours a day watching TV. And we only have time to hang out with our friends for 1 hour. So we need to remember that we're trying to determine how we spend our day. We want to know what we spend the most amount of time doing and what we don't have a lot of time to do at the end of the day. We can use a bar graph to help us understand this data. This is what a bar graph looks like. A bar graph has an x-axis. It's that yellow line across the bottom that the yellow arrow is pointing to. And the x-axis keeps track of what we're trying to figure out. So for us, it's all of the activities. Those are the things we're keeping track of. A bar graph also has a y-axis. That's that purple line that goes up the side, and that purple arrow is pointing towards it. And the y-axis keeps track of all of our data, so the numbers. For us, those are the hours we spent doing each of those activities. But let's graph our data. So here's our table, and then here's our graph. And we can see that the green bars show us how much time we spent doing each one. And now it's pretty easy to see what we spent more time doing and less time doing. So the tall bars mean that we spent most of our time doing those. And then the really short bars, we didn't spend a lot of time doing those things. So the tallest bar, we spent the most time doing it. So it looks like sleeping is actually what we spend the most time doing in one day. And the smallest bar, that's what we spend the least amount of time doing. So it looks like hanging out with our friends is what we have the least amount of time doing in a day. And if we look really closely, we can see that maybe there's a few of the bars that are the same height. So eating, outside play and sports, and watching TV, those bars are all at the same line, which is the 2-hour line. So we spend the same amount of time every day doing those things. So is there any way, now that we can see how we spend our day, that we'd want to do things differently for tomorrow? We could change how much time we do certain things and be able to have more time for other things. So looking at our graph, there's certain things that we can't alter the time on, like sleeping, eating, and how much time we spend at school. But the rest of the things we can change. Let's say we play outside for 3 hours instead of 2, and we spend 2 hours with the family instead of an hour and a half, and let's not watch any TV at all tomorrow. And that way we can hang out with our friends for an extra hour and a half. So using our new numbers, our updated data, we can see that the graph changed a little bit, right? Without watching TV, we're able to play outside more, spend more time with family, and hang out with our friends longer. And all of that sounds pretty good to me. So great job. You answered the question. You figured out how much time you spend every day doing certain things by using a bar graph, and you were able to alter that. So great job. Now make sure you watch video 2 and head to the website to play our games and do our quizzes. And remember, always be clever. Hey, hey.